Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It is Wrestling Daily, July 14th. Straight up on YouTube today. What up to everybody who's watching live? Hello, Kyle in the chat. Yes, I was also looking forward to doing this episode for you guys today. Thank you for being with me, and I hope you enjoyed a hell of a weekend in wrestling. If there's anything you can say, I'm Matt, by the way. Follow me in those places down below. Blue Sky people, I'm with you. I'm gonna do more there. But hello to everybody. I said a few times last week that this past wrestling weekend is not about anything more with all of the wrestling that was getting thrown at you than people fighting for your eyeballs. People, that sounds ridiculous out of context. People fighting for your viewership. People fighting for your hard-earned dollars. And by people, I mean the companies. How can we earn their money this weekend? That has given wrestling fans products that are going to try to put their best foot forward and to get you to tune into their show, get you to talk about their show, get you to buy a shirt, follow along. Oh, I haven't watched in a while. I've never watched before. I'm going to watch now. All of those were goals this weekend for the companies that ran big shows. And I actually had a conversation with my chiropractor this morning about how one of my earliest memories of wrestling using outside influence to draw in a bigger audience. And I've known it happened long before this. I know about WrestleMania 1 and all that stuff. But when Mike Tyson was brought in for WrestleMania 14, a friend of mine who was not a wrestling fan, so I was 14, 13, 14 at the time. He was not a fan, but he had heard about the Tyson thing. And he said, what's going on with that? I said, well, he's going to be the referee, and it's a big title match. And, this one guy's on a roll. And I'm saying this as a 13, 14-year-old going, like, yeah, he's the best. Like, and he's going to beat Shawn Michaels. But, there's other people that, yeah, I think I'd like to see that. So right there, it's, okay, that works. Well, why did that work? Well, Mike Tyson's got a chaotic nature about him and a past and all of that. Yeah, I want to see how he mixes into wrestling. And that's to attract more eyeballs, more dollars on the biggest show of the year. Business models these days are about content. And that means hit you over the head with stuff. Okay, you didn't watch it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can always go back and watch it on YouTube. You can go stream it on Max. You can go stream it wherever you're going to get your wrestling. If you don't watch it live, you don't have to wait to catch up. But, and I know a bunch of people, I did that this weekend. On Saturday, like I assume a lot of you were locked in for All In. Maybe you were locked in for NXT. Hell of an option, huh? You know what? They're putting on a big show. Well, we gotta throw something on the other end of that. Okay. On a night where an all-time great was having his final match. Yes, Bill Goldberg is an all-time great. in the business of wrestling, he is. And that's why people cared about that match. And if you didn't care about that match, that's okay too. You could just not care about it. You don't have to crap on it. And vice versa. So you got an abundance of wrestling this weekend. You may have caught up on it on Sunday. You may have caught up before last night's show. There's good stuff all over the weekend. There's moments that paid off this weekend. And I truly believe that the audience, the wrestling fans out there, I think spoke volumes with their reactions to the weekend, both in person, online, continued reaction after the fact. I truly believe we got a real glimpse of what is working in pro wrestling in 2025. It is not the same thing everywhere. Not every story can be the same. But I think we saw a lot of different things in pro wrestling on display this week that all worked for their own reasons. I'll start with the obvious. Big Boom AJ. Big Boom AJ has a place in pro wrestling. Yes, I know the obvious is the obvious, and it's the thumbnail for this thing, all that. If you pick your spots, AJ, Big Justice, Rizzler, funny does equal money. Ha-has do equal green. And with that kind of following comes people who may never have seen pro wrestling before and then got to see an unbelievable display of exactly what makes AEW great. Maybe those people came in to watch the Rizzler. Maybe they saw Trent shove Big Justice on the ground to have that moment. To get people pissed. He pie-faced. I don't think he's a teenager yet. An almost teenager. That's all it was. He went. Big Justice goes down. And I'm breaking this down like it's like I'm on the Bobby the Heenan brain scan here, doing the telestrator, or like John Madden or whatever. He got up in his face and he pushed the kid down, and that building went nuts. And they were, if you ask Trent, that is probably the biggest reaction he's ever gotten. Think about that. Pie-faced, down. That comes over. Him? It was so simple. And it worked. And you know what it did? It put everybody in a good mood. Fan service is a good thing. Hey, we know why you're here. You're here to have a good time. Here's a way to have a good time. Let that live on. Give me Trent and Big Boom AJ. I don't know. Pick a Dynamite. Pick a Collision coming up. Maybe in Chicago. Maybe in Philly. Oh, I want. Who's giving AJ the 2300 arena stamp of approval next month. If you're in the chat, tell me who does that. And we're having fun. We're having fun with that. I can't tell you, in all seriousness, how much that family is so respectful of where they're at. And I'm not saying like you have to bow down at the altar of pro wrestling. It's just, hey, we know we're coming into another place, another world. We're gonna do our stuff, but they're lovely people to be around. Um, I say that because I get it. I get how much you see of Twitter people and TikTok people and all. They are genuinely wonderful people to be around. They're appreciative. They're fun. They work hard. They want to make everything better. They want to get the word out there, and they have a place, and I think it's a fun place, and that's all you have to look at it as. It's just fun. That's all it's meant to be. Okay, so Tom, shout out to Tom, who's always putting out good stuff. Make sure you catch WCW. Tom? Throw it in the chat. What's tomorrow night? I did not see the promo. I apologize. And watch Tom's channel as well. But Tom said Sam N shares the Feastable with AJ, Big Justice, and the Rizzler mid ring. Sure, yeah. What is the ECW 2300 stamp of approval for the crew? Oh, I gotta think about that one. We gotta think. Let me get some of these in here. Kyle said, "Wouldn't be lying." Yep, I appreciate that. Dennis, appreciate your comments. Agent P, love the tag match between Young Bucks versus Swerve and Will. Are you in any capacity working with AEW? Love your bracketology on Continental Classic. Thank you very much. I do work there. Hopefully, I can tell you what I'm doing there soon. There you go, Tom. Tom's got WCW Deep Cuts tomorrow, 9 Eastern on Twitch. So make sure you go watch them there. Kyle says Big Boom in a scaffolding match. I mean, I know that. I guess they did a few there. I mean, there's scaffolding up there. It's for those of you who were at the ECW Arena 2300 pre it becoming kind of an actual place. If you've seen the videos, if you've seen, Tony Khan watching in the crowd or whatever it may be, or the old mid 90s, that place has gotten what I would guess to be necessary upgrades to keep it at a level of being useful. And there's a little bar area now. It has a mini what looks like to me like one of at an arena hockey or hoops, but more of an old school feel of a 4-box Tron thing over the ring, but it's small. It still has some old charm to it. So it'd be cool to have AEW there next month. But yeah, I wonder in that residency, considering that who gets to say they went to wrestling in an arena at a moment in time, a very important big moment in time, and something that people look back fondly upon, and get to go back to that building and run a international wrestling television show live in that arena. I mean, if you're going to crap on that, you're just miserable. That's a pretty cool wrestling story. As was this weekend. There will be no highlights. It's on Max. Go watch it there. Or payperview.com or Prime. I wouldn't want to show you any highlights of the pay-per-view of All In, because I don't think it would do it justice. First of all, the entire team did to make that building look the way it did, feel the way it did, make the wrestlers, the matches come up a level. And I do think there is a line there that you have to ride sometimes. I think there can be too much pageantry. I think there can be too much flash. And sometimes all of that can take away from what we're here for, which is the culmination of big stories, big matches, personal stories, bloody stories. I think the right balance was struck. You got to have the big entrances. There is pageantry. It is the biggest show of the year for AEW. That to date, 27,000 plus people, 30 whatever it was. You do need to have those elements of the Bucks coming out on a ship and Death Riders with the wagon and the woman who whistled Hangman's theme, who, by the way, not apparently, I saw it, I actually looked it up this morning. The woman Molly, who whistled Hangman's theme, is actually on the viral YouTube video with that guy, the cow. I'm going to do this now. The cowboy who's like that it just appears in the sky. You know what I'm talking about. She whistled in that, and then she whistled on Hangman's entrance, and then he came out, not from this side, but from this side. And Ghost Town Triumph. Original music was back. A jacket was a throwback. He was the man in white, but also some darkness, but there was white there. That light was there. I think even Excalibur said that's the guy, he's wearing the white hat tonight. It's a simple thing, but I think that symbolism does matter sometimes. I loathe when wrestlers dress the same. It doesn't, you gotta have something to it. It's why, as somewhat ham-fisted as it was, Shawn coming down from the white, take her up in the black, although that wasn't as personal. That imagery, I do think, matters. And obviously it matters when you're wearing white in a match that will have a lot of red. If you didn't see it, people know, I think, what happened, what the finish was. To hit the levels you need to hit to overcome, to address the last 10 months, 9 months of the Death Riders and what they've done and who they've taken out and what they've done to AEW and the path of destruction they left. I think all of that was addressed in the match. I think all of that came into play. And that's important. I think there were elements of that match that take you back to their first Texas Death Match, that take you back to stuff that Hangman did with Swerve. And I'm not saying that wrestling needs to be, there was this clue here, there was this clue here. Hey, sometimes it's, I don't like you and I don't like what you stand for. I'm going to kick your ass. Or you have that title, I want it. Or you are a former world champion, and if I beat you, I move up in the world. That can be enough for pro wrestling sometimes. But what we saw between Hangman and Mox was really, they were the main players. But this was the story of AEW, encapsulated over these months and over what this rivalry turned into, where the past of Hangman and Swerve came into play, but the past of Hangman and the Bucks came into play. And then that roped in Swerve, and you think about Will Ospreay and him kind of taking up the mantle for what people may look at as the new guard of AEW. I don't know. But to take out the EVPs, to take out the Bucks, to, when you look at it, sure, you had MJF win the win the gauntlet. You had Okada come out on top of Kenny in a different match than we had seen in their previous encounters. But I think there was a lot of happiness that came from the show. I think that absolutely should be by how you want things to land, whether it be Toni or Hangman or some fun surprises, or you want people happy, you want people excited, you want people looking forward to Wednesday. I felt the anticipation of this past weekend. Felt it. You needed it. And you needed it because this. If you dangle a carrot that big, which is exactly what that is. If you dangle a carrot that big, people are going to keep going forward. That much close to it. And it's why, as Tom and I talked about last week, there is that necessary mountain to topple. It's a big mountain sometimes. It's a mountain that's not fun to deal with sometimes. It's a mountain that may annoy you sometimes. I'm tired of this. But it's still something that needs to be toppled. It needs to be scaled. A challenge needs to be something that matters when you overcome it. It is about the journey. But what I will say about crowning Hangman and him winning that title, this is not going to be a victory lap on Wednesday. This is going to be the next chapter. Because now it's, well, you've done this before. And it didn't work out like you hoped. And look what it did to you when you lost. Now that you have it again, are we going to see history repeat itself? Hangman is a great professional wrestler. Great. But a big reason why he's great is because he does not hide his vulnerability. It is not the actions of your typical alpha face of the company champion. It's not. Not in the traditional sense, whatever the hell that means. I know wrestling is supposed to have people and personalities and bodies and actions and moves that are larger than life. Airport test. Absolutely. And there's room for that. And you want to see somebody when you're in the front row. And I saw those little girls last night over the railing, seeing their favorites up close and going, my God, they do look like superheroes. They're supposed to look like superheroes. They are supposed to garner those kind of reactions of yes, but the inspirations can come from a lot of different places and a lot of different mentalities and a lot of different backgrounds. I know there were a wide variety of people who, and this is not like there was some lesson to be learned, but I think a lot of people felt the journey of Hangman. There's the promo. It's if you've not seen that Pink Pony Club edit that was done, there is a promo at the beginning of it from the previous big feud with Mox about failure and losing and depression and the medication not working and letting your family down and shit. That's as real as it gets. You can feel that. And like I said, that's a different mentality than what we have ever come to expect from the world of pro wrestling. It is not that. It is dressed perfectly or looking perfectly and always with a smile on your face. If you're angry, it's directed at your opponent. It's never that deep. And sure, there's personal stuff that happens and they go after a family or whatever, but seeing reaction and resilience or lack thereof of setbacks, I think is a hell of a way to take a journey with someone. You can have very different types of world champions. Look at this weekend. But I think we have the most modern, I'll say, male champion we've had in a long time. Modern male world champion. Top of the card, face of the company kind of stuff. I don't think anybody is like Hangman in that way. I think that's what makes him so unique. And seeing the responses to him winning and the stories people shared from watching him, watching his story, the meet and greets, he's a different kind of role model. And I think, yeah, did he have the match he had on Saturday afternoon, evening? That was pretty gnarly and not for everybody. He did. But I think he also knows what comes with the job, with the role that he's in, and he knows how to handle it. And he knows how to handle it in a way that I think is perfectly humanizing in a world that doesn't like to be very humanizing. If it touched you, I'm glad it did. If you watched the show, that match, Toni and Mercedes, the gauntlets, the tag match, seeing the pop that Willow got, seeing people like Athena win that gauntlet and get that moment and doing so when she hasn't had a ton of those chances in her career. And all of a sudden, she's in a match with, that was a roster flex. There was a lot of roster flexing done this weekend for various reasons, but that was a roster flex to me. Everybody who went out there, there were former champs, there was debuts, the wide array of talent and backgrounds and cultures and people and experience to all come together on that one match. And there were a lot of, you know, does every feud turn into a pay-per-view match? No. But there was a lot of stuff within the match that had been going on or building or whatever you want to say about it. And sure, you know, the gauntlet was huge, and you had the top two titles in one match with Toni and Mercedes. And God, did they hit a home run on what they do? You see how good they are, and you see like everything, every decision that they have made in the last, what, 4 or 5 years is validated. And I don't know what's next for either one, but I'm excited to see it. There's more to talk about. We'll get into it in the coming days. I will definitely be with you guys tomorrow. I am on the road on the back end of the week, so we'll see how things go. But thank you for watching. If you're watching after the fact, I appreciate you. Comment down below. Hit me up, of course, as always, in these places here. We'll see what the rest of the week brings us. I appreciate you joining me here on Wrestling Daily, and I will be back tomorrow to talk about wrestling even more. See you next time, everybody.